Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations, but who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Oshodi is a vibrant, bustling district in Lagos, Nigeria, known for its energetic mix of commerce, culture, and resilience. It is a place where opportunity and chaos thrive together, reflecting the city's dynamic spirit. Before Oshodi became a symbol of Lagos hustle, it was a quiet settlement occupied by the Awori people, one of the earliest Yoruba subgroups in the region. The name Oshodi is believed to have been derived from Balogun Oshodi Tapa, a war captain under the famous Yoruba warrior Oba Kosoko. With Lagos' rapid development, Oshodi became a key transportation hub connecting different parts of the city. By 1970 and 1980s, it had become a bustling marketplace and a major stop for people traveling through Lagos. Today, Oshodi is a lively and busy place full of people, market stalls, and activities from morning to night. It is known for being the energetic heart of Lagos and a challenging area due to the crowd and traffic. Despite the chaos, Oshodi shows the strength and determination of the people who live and work there. In recent years, Oshodi underwent one of the most ambitious urban transformations in Lagos history, the birth of Oshodi Transport Interchange. This multi-terminal megastructure was designed to tame the chaos, bringing a modern transport system to one of Africa's busiest cities. Beneath the modern facade, the original Oshodi also lives on. Traders still line the side streets, food vendors still serve steaming plates of jollof rice, and thousands still rely on this place as the start or end of their daily journey. To the outsider, Oshodi might look like the unfiltered chaos, but to those who know its streets, it is an ecosystem, a place where the rule of survival, negotiation, and community are learned on the go. From sunrise to moonlight,
All right, yes, weekend football has come and gone, yes, in the Europe's top 5 leagues and other leagues around the world. But now we are back into the midweek action, and you know, the biggest club competition in European football. I was talking about the UEFA Champions League. Yes, it takes its course this Wednesday, match day 8. Yes, the last match day of the league phase. And of course, different teams will be looking to jostle and get back into the top 8 or even the top 24 so that they can qualify for either the playoffs or straight to the knockout stages. Good evening and welcome to the locker room. Of course, yes, where we discuss all things football. Of course, the beautiful game, Jogo Bonito, everything's happened behind the scene and even on the pitch. Yes, we break it all down here on this show. Today, I am Afiz Ogubanjo, and I'm here to take you through all the ride, of course, for the next 15 minutes thereabouts as we look to dissect this one. And of course, I won't be doing this alone. Of course, I'll be joined by Mayowa pretty soon virtually. And of course, just before we go on, let me let you know that yes, you can follow us on all our social media handles, and of course you can be part of the action. And yes, VOP TV live, and of course VOP TV Plus on YouTube. Make sure you do well to like, comment, and subscribe to the channels, and of course turn on your notification bell so that you won't miss any of the exciting episodes, not only on this show Locker Room, but of course other shows we have on other programs on the platforms. And yeah, where do we start? Yes, it's Champions League weekend, but of course, charity, they say, begins at home. Let's start with the Super Eagles, of course, still smarting from the AFCON competition right there in Morocco. And of course, 5 players, yes, are looking to be set to miss out on Eric Chelle squad for the AFCON qualifiers 2027 because Super Eagles coach Eric Chelle has decided to keep 5 players out of his immediate plans following Nigeria's bronze medal finish at AFCON 2025 in Morocco. And the players who may return to the squad in the future, if their club form improves, are currently being rested for the second part of Chelle's project. And of course, the 5 players maybe include Zaidou Sanusi, yes, the Porto left back. Of course, remember Zaidou Sanusi, there's something special about him. He used to be one of the best left backs, even in world football, of course, when he was at Porto. But yeah, the unfortunate ACL injury, made him to miss a lot of action. And when he got back, he couldn't really keep up. They was talking about Zaidou Sanusi, and he lost his spot to Bruno Yemechi, and of course hasn't regained it with Olaino also available as an option. And it was Zaidou Sanusi that started, the first game at the AFCON 2025, that game against Tanzania. And of course, Nigerians were looking at, hey, you didn't perform really well. Bruno Yemechi came in and he also got, his start. And since then, he made the position his own till the end of the competition. Yes, Mayowa is with us now. Mayowa, Olua Mayowa Alao, of course, yes, that's his full name. And Mayowa, it's good to have you with us. Of course, you've been under the weather. I'm glad that you are back now. And of course, you must be bubbling, yes, with the results over the weekend. Manchester United, the big one, defeating the table toppers Arsenal in their own compound. That's talking about the Emirates Stadium that was looking like a fortress until the Old Trafford outfield, came to town, and also scoring 3 goals against Arsenal. The first time Arsenal will be conceding in how many years? And of course, I'm sure you are smarting from that one. Good evening, Mayowa. It's good to have you back with us on Locker Room.
Well, it's always amazing to be here. The man that supports the ambitionless club is not around today. I would have loved to, to throw some jabs at him. I have this that behind the scene, but I know. But he decided to run away. He knew I was coming and decided to run away as usual. before the week runs out, I'm going to catch him.
Of course.
That's fine. But in any case, I think I think we can see that back to basic works. There's no need to kill yourself over any philosophy.
Yeah.
There's no need to play a particular pattern. There's no need to, to insist on a particular. Just do the basics. Defend the mass, attack in mass. You don't need to do any positional playing. We saw what he did against Man City. 37% possession, and he ended up winning that game. Against Arsenal, only three half chances, and those 3 half chances resulted in goals. That is what we call effective football, and that is what Ruben Amorim could not do in the last 18 months. I think we saw what he did with Middlesbrough, from relegation to fighting for qualification. Do the same thing with Manchester United. Lack players. I think it was because the coach lacked an idea of how to move the team forward, and and that's the reason why the team suffered. So kudos to Carrick. 2 games, 5 goals. Scored 5, considered 2. I mean that's a very fair result. 6 out of 6. Manchester United sitting above Liverpool this season. I mean, you can't write a better story for a Manchester United that has been struggling all season. So I'm really happy. I'm optimistic, and now probably maybe we should be fighting for the EPL.
Please, I think it's too early to be dreaming like that. Remember, there are still 12 points behind the table toppers. So, but who knows? I mean, it's the Premier League. We've seen drama happen in the Premier League long before now, and who says it can't happen again? But trust me, it's going to take a long journey for Manchester United to even get into the top 2. Not to even talk of trying to win the Premier League. But before we move on, we're still going to discuss Manchester United later, Maiwa. But if with what you've seen, the first 2 games, I mean, this is the certain Michael Carrick that defeated 2 title contenders back to back, Manchester City and Arsenal. Now, according to what you've seen from those 2 games, you can say it's too early, but from those 2 games, should he get the job on a permanent basis?
Well, the thing is this: I don't think the board believes in him. I think they just want to put him as a stopgap measure. I think they are looking at the possibility of bringing a Thomas Tuchel in, and the reason why they will do that is this: they want a Manchester United side that can compete for titles, and there is always an associated risk if you want to do that with a coach that has not won anything. Carrick has not won anything as a coach. And that is the reason why a whole lot of the guys on the board will not want to give him the job.
But they've tried with coaches that have won titles before.
Well, under the new board, maybe Ruben Amorim did something in
their eyes.
Portugal. Yeah. Eric Ten Hag did something in England, in Holland. Yeah. But the 2 coaches, they failed. They failed woefully. These are not serial winners. These are not in the class of a Pep Guardiola or even a Thomas Tuchel. These are Champions League winner. These are coaches that have won something special in Europe. Yeah. So I think those are the kind of managers they are looking at, and that is the reason why they will not give a Michael Carrick the job. That's my number 2. Another thing is this: the moment you give a Michael Carrick a full-time job, the pressure comes in. As it is right now, he's not under any pressure. He's just there to steady the ship, and he's doing the job without being under any pressure. I don't think the board will believe in him because he has not won anything to be able to shape the future of Manchester United. He can steady the ship, but I don't think they will want him to be the one to shape the future of Manchester United because he has not won anything tangible as a coach.
All right, Maiwa, of course, Manchester United, when you start discussing about Manchester United, there is a lot of talking points. But we're still sticking with what we've been discussing, talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the players that maybe didn't have a good performance, at the AFCON. And Eric Chelle is looking at it and saying, look, maybe I'm going to have to do away with these players going forward because it's looking like Eric Chelle is going to stay with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And of course, he wants to build on, he wants to improve on the top place finish finish at the AFCON. So maybe these players is looking at them and say, look, I might drop you and try to bring in, someone new. We saw what he did with a certain Benjamin Frederick, and it's looking like a mainstay. So Zaidu Sanusi, I mentioned earlier, he has lost his spot to Bruno Emechi, and it's looking like going forward, Bruno Emechi is going to be Nigeria's starting left back. And I'm also moving on to Chidera Ejuke. This one is actually a bit, maybe a bit funny to me because, he failed to meet defensive demands against Tunisia and only played a substitute role in the third place game. Should he be discarded? I'm talking about Chidera Ejuke now. Should he be discarded by Chelle, or should he still be a mainstay in the Super Eagles team? Because it looks like anytime he's brought on, to attack, not to defend. He's a left winger. To attack, I think he offers more, trying to get past defenders and getting the ball to the final third. I think he offers more than Samuel Chukwueze. What do you think about Chidera Ejuke looking to be, left over or left back by a certain Chelle?
Well, the thing is very simple. I think I want this kind of attitude. Even the Zaidu Sanusi that we're talking about, if he steps up today and proves himself again, then he should get a fair shot at the national team. There's a particular Francis Zoho that everybody did not talk. Yes, a lot of people will say he did not play in the Nations Cup. What appearance does he have, and the rest of that, whatever it is. However, his performance brought him back to the national team. I think if the coach did not say anything that will probably, justify him being the national team, he will not be there. Zaidu Sanusi was awful in that first game. Bright Osai Samuel was also awful in the first game. But I think Bright Osai Samuel redeemed himself in training, right? And that was the reason why he featured. The Zaidu Sanusi did not do that. Bruno Emachi came in and, he completely benched, Zaidu Sanusi. So I want this kind of attitude in our national team. If you are not good enough, you should not be playing for us. And that is just the honest truth. I want a situation whereby our second 11 will be even better than our first 11. Yeah. Our second 11 will be waiting for their chance to be able to dislodge the first team players.
That will put everybody on their toes. Yes. If you are starting, you will know that, look, you are not indispensable. Somebody can come in for you.
Yes, and I want to take you back to 2002. Onik Bide came in. Yes, a lot of people will say we did not perform well in that World Cup and the rest of that. However, he brought a kind of spirit to the national team. If you are not good enough, if you are not good enough, you will never play. You don't have a guaranteed shirt in the national team. Yeah. You have to fight for your place because you have performed so well at the Nations Cup. Does not mean the next qualifier, Nations Cup qualifier, you'll be playing for the Super Eagles. Meaning, if you don't up your game, another person is sitting down that will want to play. So I want this kind of attitude, and that is what I want to see going forward. I'm tired of Nigeria being a dumping ground for European rejectees coming back to see if they can play for a Super Eagles that is devoid of talented players.
Maiwa, there are 5 players here. Let me quickly run through them. I mentioned Zaidu Sanusi, Chidera Ejuke, and the rest are Ebenezer Akinsomiro, Chidozie Awaziem, and Usman Mohammed. Now, I will ask you, out of these 5 players, who do you think should still be retained by Chelle? And also, you mentioned a coach like Adegboye Onigbinde in the 2002 World Cup that's saying that, look, if you don't get to play, if you are not playing good, if you are not on form, you have to fight for your shirt, basically. Do we still have coaches like that, in Nigeria? I mean, Nigerians, no, I'm not talking about, foreigners that are bringing now in world football. But in Nigeria here, maybe it's the MPFL or the NLO or the NNL, do we still have coaches like that? If not, shouldn't this still be brought into our coaches? Like, look, you have to be someone that's, stand by your own rules and say, look, you have to earn your own starting place. What do you think about these 5 players and who should be retained?
Well, for me, I think Akinsomiro is still very young. He didn't have enough opportunity to be able to prove himself. Yeah. The thing is all the players you have mentioned on their day, the reason why they got a call up for the national team, it's not as if they are that bad. On their day, they can put up a decent performance.
Usman Mohammed?
The bottom line is this. Yeah, some of them got in because of their character. We spoke about this even before, before the tournament.
Yes.
However, out of the list of players you have mentioned, some of them are not bad. on a good day, they should be able to play. However, we don't want a player that you can only perform on your day. We want players that even when you are having a bad day,
of course,
yes, you should be able to give us results. That is what we have. That's what we want. We don't want on your day you can give us that. We have passed that. We have passed that level. So for those players that are just considering leaving out of the team, go back to the drawing board and prove yourself to become inevitable for the national team. A typical example is Paul Onachu. Yes, he only scored a goal in the Nations Cup. However, he went to Turkey and he proved himself. And no matter how disgusted you are at him, no matter how you don't like him, his level gave him an opportunity to be part of the national team, and he was there because of performance. So other players, go and do the same thing, up your game, ensure that you are playing good enough that nobody can say you are not fit enough for the national team. Then for the coaches, the thing is this, for any coach to be able to do that, he needs to have the backing of the board, needs to have the backing of the FA. When Onigbide was doing that, Onigbide was giving the full power and he had the backing. Currently, I don't think the current NFF they have the backing. Even our local players, they don't support them. And that's the reason why, we always wait on second, foreign-born Nigerians to come and play for Nigeria. We are not even giving our local-born players the opportunity. So there is no support. That's number one. Number two, because there is no support, most of these coaches, they cave to all these big boys. We know what happened to Finidi George. Yes, the man management was poor, but if the NFF board supported him, Osimhen will not insult Finidi George, and the sport minister will speak on his behalf and say, Finidi should get out and Osimhen should be back in the team.
I mean,
so
it's not
before
done.
we can get that, the board has to support them.
Of course, the board really has to support them. And I want to ask you, Maiwa, Eric Chelle, do you think he has done enough, to end that fight that he will now come out and say, look, I have all the power now to select my players with or without the board's, approval. These are the players I want to, take to any competition or any qualifiers. Do you think he has earned it with this third place finish at the AFCON? Quickly.
Well, I think he has earned more than that. However, we all know, even this particular tournament, we know that my slot was part of the reason why some names appeared on that particular
Absolutely,
list.
absolutely.
And that will never stop. So, but the thing is this, maybe because of this performance now, you probably have 80% control on selection. I think he has done enough to be able to end that. But to completely, shut out my slot or the fragile character that sometimes does not favor us, I don't think that's possible.
Wow. Well, let's see how it goes in the future. But I think Eric Chelle, well, I'm glad you will still be sticking with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, or let me say the NFF will still be sticking with him, because I think he has done more than enough. And speaking of certain players that actually played at the AFCON, they got minutes, at the AFCON. That's talking about a certain Fisayo Dele Bashiru. Yes, Jerry and I discussed yesterday where we were saying some players, because of their AFCON performance, their price tag will have gone up. And Sunderland and Nottingham Forest are eyeing Lazio midfielder Fisayo Dele Bashiru, with Turkish Super League side Trabzonspor also in the mix. And Lazio, they are reportedly seeking 15 to 20 million euros for the 24-year-old Nigerian international, who has been in impressive form for the Super Eagles at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. And Dele Bashiru's stock has risen after featuring in 6 matches during Nigeria's bronze medal run at AFCON 2025. He provided an assist for Paul Onachu in Nigeria's 3-1 win over Uganda, showcasing his versatility and physical attributes. And of course, the midfielder's current market value is estimated at 6.5 million euros, but Lazio's asking price reflects his potential and contract status, which runs until June 2028. And talks are exploratory with no agreements in place, but Lazio may soon decide whether to retain Dele Bashiru or cash in. For me, I think Dele Bashiru, I don't know the situation, the financial situation that Lazio are in right now, because they sold some of their best players. Looking at Matteo Guendouzi, the former Arsenal man, has been sold to Fenerbahce. Tati Castellanos, one of their top strikers, has also been sold to West Ham. Do you think Lazio should cash in on Dele Bashiru? Should he stay, or maybe because of their financial situation, he should move on? And if he should move on, Maiwa, should he come to the Premier League? Do you think he's Premier League ready, or he should just move on to Trabzonspor in the Turkey League?
Well, I think currently Lazio is in the books. It's in the red. They've managed their finances poorly. They could barely even cover their wages. And if you have a player valued at about £6 million, and now you have a player who has moved in less than 1 month. He has moved to the region of 17, 18 million. I think it's a good idea to cash in. Lazio is also barely surviving in the Serie A at the moment, because majority of their players had to leave because they wanted to sell them to get money to be able to keep the club afloat. I think Dele Bashiru has given a good account of himself, and this is the best time for them to be able to cash out. And the risk of keeping a Dele Bashiru is this: if anything, if the season goes south for Lazio, and they end up probably relegating, majority of this player will leave for almost nothing. So it's better now where when the ovation is loudest, that they sell a Dele Bashiru. That puts a lot of money in their coffers. I mean, if you are evaluating for 6.5 million and now it's about 18 million, that's about 12 million pounds. And that 12 million pounds can go a long way for a club struggling financially. So I think, and it's also a good one for a Dele Bashiru. I mean, if it comes to the EPL, especially a Sunderland that is interested in, remember, Sunderland is also one of the top 10 teams in England at the moment. Yeah, that's one of the top clubs in England. So a Dele Bashiru in Sunderland gives him more visibility and also gives him more exposure. So it's going to be a win-win for Lazio and also for Dele Bashiru as a player. So for me, I think Lazio should cash in, sell him to a much more bigger club that is financially stable. You get the money, and our own player gets the exposure, and it's going to even be better for our own national team. I mean, our player continues to build their profile, playing in one of the top clubs in Europe.
Of course, and again, Maiwa, who are other players in that AFCON squad that you say, look, because of the performances at the AFCON, getting to third place, maybe narrowly losing to Morocco, I mean, it's penalties, of course. Who are the players that you think that should get a move also, maybe in January or in the next summer?
Well, I think Ndidi,
there are talks of Manchester United.
Very fantastic. I thought Ndidi was finished. I mean, why not? Why not? Casemiro is 35, and Casemiro is stepping down at the end of the season.
Of course.
It is not 35, Ndidi is 30, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that's about 5 years or so. So we can always bring in a different Ndidi if he can be consistent the way he was consistent at the AFCON, and if he can put up the same performance he had, in that particular season where Leicester came from championship. Came from championship and go back to the EPL. I think if I put out that same performance, I think it will be a decent buy. Calvin Bassey was very, very fantastic.
Absolutely.
Bruno Yemachi, fantastic. Akko Adams, fantastic.
Even since he got back from the AFCON, that's talking about Adams. Sorry, Maiwa. He's been banging goals left, right, and center for Sevilla. 3 goals now in 2 games.
Yeah, definitely. A particular Iwobi. Yes, I think Arsenal should be biting their fingers for letting him. Yes, I understand. I understand the reason why they let him go, because I mean, to be honest, let's be honest with ourselves. He will be dipped in form, to be honest.
He did.
And that's the reason why I couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I couldn't keep up. But now, with the performance we're able to see at the AFCON, we can see what he can do the moment you unlock him and allow him to play. Even our own Victor Osimhen should not be playing, although everybody has said it, he should not be in Fenerbahce playing. Ademola Lookman, fantastic. Definitely is going to leave Atlanta at the end of the season. So I think majority of our players, at least 60-70% of our players, deserve, move to a bigger club because of the kind of performance they were able to put in. Apart from the first game that was shaky, all other games we played excellently well. Even the Ndidi we are talking about, the game against Morocco, we actually missed Ndidi in that particular game. If Ndidi was there, probably we might have got one over Morocco and probably be in the final. Maybe we'll be talking about Nigeria winning the Nations Cup or not, but that was how good Ndidi was. So I would not be surprised if a Manchester United ends up signing a Wilfred Ndidi because of the kind of performance he puts in at the Nations Cup.
Wow. And let's move on and let's talk about a player that is even looking not to even get back to club football alone, but even to the national team, because at some point he teased his retirement, but he said it's all jokes and he wants to be back. but then unfortunately injury struck, and Super Eagles striker Victor Boniface has begun his recovery journey at Bayer Leverkusen after undergoing knee surgery. And the 25-year-old forward shared a picture from the Leverkusen gym indicating he started light training as part of his rehabilitation. And Boniface had hinted at a return to training on Sunday, right, saying that work starts tomorrow, thank you Lord, alongside a photo of himself on the pitch. And of course, Boniface's knee troubles, and they are not new, with 2 cruciate ligament tears suffered in 2019, contributing to his current situation. And of course, he's currently on loan at Werder Bremen, but is recovering at Leverkusen under medical supervision. The Super Eagles teammates have sent supportive messages, and fans are eagerly awaiting updates on his fitness. Maiwa, I want to seek your opinion on this one. Boniface, on his day, I think he's a predatory striker, absolutely dangerous. But then the injuries have set in. That move, to AC Milan that was denied by that injury, and of course he failed the medical and all of that. Do you still think there's still time for Victor Boniface, to make his return, to get to that level of his first season at Leverkusen? Because for me, I know he went on loan, he's on loan at Werder Bremen, but I don't think that's where he should be playing. Much respect to Werder Bremen, but I don't think that's where he should be playing, because he was part of that team that won the league, with the Invincibles in the Bundesliga. What do you think Victor Boniface should do, when he gets fit, from this knee injury that he's having?
Well, the thing is this, the problem has always been on his day. You made mention of something on his day. A player that only shows up on his day is not a player that is ready for greatness. And that's just the honest truth. Yes, he was part of a fantastic team. Yes, injury has not been kind to him.
Yeah.
However, and I'm talking from, a Nigerian perspective now, like Jerry would say, the fake Victor. When it comes to Nigeria, it becomes a cat that the rain has beaten. He doesn't show up for the Super Eagles. And the reason for that is he's always waiting for his day. And you cannot continue to wait for your day. That's number one. Number two, after the the incredible season that he had under
Xabi Alonso.
Alonso with Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Since then, what has been his profile? Has been able to build on that profile? No, his performance has dipped. Meaning on his day performance has become far in between. And that is the reason why Bayer Leverkusen chased him out to go on loan to Werder Bremen. Even in Werder Bremen, how many games has he played? Yes, injury has not been kind to him and the rest of that. But what he needs to do is this. If a Wilfred Ndidi could do it, Wilfred Ndidi fell off, Iwobi fell off, and they regained, their momentum. Iwobi in Fulham has been very, very fantastic. Ndidi in Turkey has been very, very fantastic, and we can see the improvement with the national team. I think if those players could do it after falling off, he also could do it. He needs to put in the work.
Maiwa, sorry to cut you there.
Yes.
With what you've seen, given his actions on social media, the way he's been talking, replying to messages and all of that, do you see Victor Boniface as a serious player to get back into competitive action, either for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, which especially he should be planning to get back into Super Eagles, because you remember he was replaced by a certain Toluwaro Kodare, who it took him just 2 games to get his first goal. Boniface had played about 13 games without scoring for the Super Eagles, and also in club football, should he get back to levels, at Leverkusen? With what you've seen so far, with his actions on social media, I want to point that out. Do you still see him as somebody that is willing to get back to the top?
Well, I think I don't want to judge him because of social media posts. Social media posts does not, determine his performance on the field. What matters is the performance on the field. Yes, there are clubs with social media rules and the rest of that. Sometimes I feel, to me personally, I feel he spends a whole lot of time on social media. Valuable time that he's supposed to spend in the gym to put himself in shape and the rest of that. But I don't want to use that to judge him. The bottom line is this: the performance on the field of play that has been missing since Bayer Leverkusen won the league. We have not seen a fantastic performance from him. His day performance has become far in between. If you are playing 5 times a week and your day performance is 4 times, everybody will not raise an eyebrow. But if your day performance is now 1 in 5 games, then that means you don't know what you are doing. So it means, he needs to do better on the field of play. He needs to get serious with getting himself back to shape and returning back to that level where we can vouch for him to come back into the national team. Onachu was ostracized from the national team. now he's back because of his performance in Turkey. A Boniface, if you can put in the performance, why not? You can always bring him back to the national team. The national team is always open for players who have put in the performance. Can he do it? Let's wait and see.
Of course, if a certain Kelechi Iheanacho, was touted to be back into Super Eagles after performances for Middlesbrough and, of course, for Celtic, I mean, why not? What's stopping a certain Victor Boniface? Because, trust me, like I said earlier, and with my also jokingly saying, on his day, actually, is a wonderful striker. But how many on your days do you have? Out of many days. So we want your on your days to be every day, if possible, or at least 90%, of your day you should be on job. But then from one injury blow, let's move on to another one. This one, I think it will be more devastating, especially for Manchester United fans, because after their heroics against Arsenal, one of their players, a player who I would say scored one of the winning goals, that's talking about Patrick Dorgu. Of course, Manchester United's left back or left wing back, Patrick Dorgu, is set to miss approximately 10 weeks of action due to a hamstring injury sustained during the club's 3-2 win over Arsenal. And the 21-year-old defender scored in back-to-back games before picking up the injury, dealing a blow to United's plans. And Dorgu's absence will be felt, given his recent contributions and growing influence in the squad. Patrick Dorgu, he's been having a wonderful time under Michael Carrick, and, well, as it happens to the best of us, or the best of players, let me say, injury has struck. Beautiful goal against Arsenal, giving Luke Shaw that freedom on that left-hand side to do the defensive work while he attacks. At Lecce, he was somebody that was coming from the back to score goals, and I think Michael Carrick, actually saw that in him and said, look, you can go forward and contribute to goals, and he has done that. Now that he's enjoying himself, this injury has suffered 10 weeks due to hamstring injury. Do you think this is going to affect his performances or affect his place in the Manchester United team when he comes back?
I think he's a rising star. It's going to be missed. I think if you look at, let's take a look at the two games he has played under Carrick. The game against Man City. Look at how Carrick deployed him. He was responsible for the second goal against Man City. Yeah. And look at how far he was in the 18 for him to be able to get that goal. The same thing he did against Arsenal. That is how important he is in terms of providing more option for us in the attack. And these are the kind of things that we have not seen for a very, very long time. So for that, we are going to miss him. We are going to miss him. And 10 weeks is not a joke. Hamstring injury is always something that if it's not well taken care of, it always has a way of coming back to bite you. I hope it's well taken care of. For the team generally, I think the team can make do without him. The reason why I said that is this. If you look at how Manchester United has played the last two games, it is, massive attack, massive defense. If you are attacking, everybody is moving together with the ball. If you are defending, everybody is moving together with the ball. And they are leaving little spaces for the opponent to work with. I think with that, we will not miss him too much. Yes, we are going to miss his contribution in terms of what he's going to contribute attack-wise. But I think the way we have lined up so far, I think we should be able to, win games without him, even without him not being present, based on the new formation and based on the new tactics Michael Carrick is deploying.
But is there squad depth though? Is there squad depth though for Michael Carrick to actually work with? Because I know a certain Matheus Cunha can be, brought into that role, to fill up that space. But then is that squad depth enough, for Michael Carrick to say, look, I can, navigate with these players to the end of the season? Or should Manchester United look at this opportunity? The January transfer window is still on, even though it's coming to an end pretty quickly. Do you think Manchester United should dip their hands into their funds and go into the January transfer window and try to get somebody to replace Patrick Dorgu?
I don't think so. I think we have enough quality to be able to help the attack. There's a particular Zegzi on the bench. Zegzi has not had his time in the sun, and this is an opportunity for Zegzi to be able to step up. Remember, Dorgu, has been given the freedom to move much more forward, allowing a Luke Shaw to stay behind and Dorgu committing himself much more forward. If you look at how Dorgu has played in the last two games, he's not playing as your typical defender anymore. He's now more of, moving forward. You remember, I want to take you back to when we had Udeze and what's that his name again? Babayaro.
Babayaro,
Udeze
yes.
playing ahead of Babayaro. Udeze playing ahead of Babayaro. These are two left wingers. These are two fullbacks. However, because of how offensive they were, their two can play together. That is what we've been able to see with a Dogu. And I think we have enough quality on the bench to be able to do that job. There's a lot of players on the bench that want to prove their worth or under Carrick, and those players will be able to step up and do the job very, very well. A particular Zexi is still waiting for his opportunity, and I think he has 10 weeks now to prove that he wants to stay in Manchester United.
Of course, I mean the time of Michael Carrick is now, and of course a lot of players will be seeing those performances and say, look, I want to get into the squad, by all means. And the injury means that Dogu will undergo rehabilitation and won't feature in several key fixtures, including matches against Fulham, Tottenham, and West Ham. And United's medical staff are monitoring his recovery closely to prevent setbacks. And of course, Dogu's impressive form under Michael Carrick has seen him score crucial goals and provide defensive support. His injury is a significant blow, but he's expected to make a smooth return given his youth, of course, and his fitness. And of course, he's likely to miss Denmark's World Cup playoff against North Macedonia in March. United, they face Leeds United on April 11. That will be potentially marking Dogu's return. I think he's going to get back into the squad. But Dogu's absence as to United's injuries concerns, with centre-back Matthijs de Ligt also sidelined. I mean, we saw the return of Lisandro Martinez, in that game. Martinez, for me, I think, a fantastic defender in his day. He knew nothing about that goal, to be honest. That one that led, the own goal that led to Arsenal's first goal. I think he knew nothing about that. And these games, talking about Fulham, West Ham, and Tottenham Hotspur, winnable games, don't you think, Mayowa, quickly?
Well, the guy that has refused to barb his hair, probably this will be the time to barb his hair. The one that said until Manchester United win 5
in a row. Yeah.
I think probably, I think he's going to barb his hair very soon. I think these are winnable games. If we can go ahead against number 1 and number 2 on the league, and we're able to dispatch them without much sweat, I think those games are very winnable games. And with the way Manchester United is playing, I think we might even win those games without conceding any goals the way they are playing. So I think those are very winnable games, and I think they have enough quality to be able to win those games. I think Michael Carrick, like I said earlier, he has not done anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Just return back to basics. Casemiro, do your job. Fernandes, we know what you can do. Casemiro, do your job properly. Meno, do your job in supporting Casemiro. Allow Fernandes to be free to connect with the strikers, and let's see what we can do in front of Mbeumo. You get the passes and try and score the goals, and that has been it. And it is working perfectly well. And I think the same pattern continues, and I think the same pattern wins us those games.
I mean, defeating Manchester City and Arsenal, the top 2 on the table in your first 2 games. I mean, I think that is something crazy and something worth celebrating. And moving on, let's talk about something, or a player that thinks something is crazy, because Barcelona's Dani Olmo, of course, who is in a fantastic form on his own, he thinks that it's crazy to compare teenage winger Lamine Yamal to great Barcelona legend Lionel Messi, saying Yamal has his own path and is giving incredible performances at just 18 years old. And Yamal, who came through Barcelona's La Masia youth system, just like Lionel Messi, he scored a brilliant acrobatic goal in Barcelona's 3-0 win over Real Oviedo, becoming the youngest La Liga goal scorer. And of course, Yamal's impressive form has done comparisons to Messi, but Olmo emphasizes that the youngster is calm and focused on his own development. He said, Lamine is a spectacle and is very young, and what he's giving us now is incredible. And Olmo said that Barcelona needs a win against Copenhagen to secure a top 8 spot in the Champions League phase. I mean, Lamine Yamal, Lionel Messi, any comparison should be dead on arrival, Mayowa, don't you think?
Well, I think a lot of people, they just like to, do comparison for whatever reason that I don't know.
But he's on his way. He's on his way, don't you think?
Yeah, even if it's on his way, I think these are 2 different players entirely. The way a Lionel Messi will play is not the same way a Lamine Yamal will play. The way the flair of Lionel Messi is different from the flair of Lamine Yamal. Both players very talented. Lamine Yamal is just building his profile, and there's no reason to start comparing, because the comparison puts him under a lot of pressure. And I understand the fact that, he has been given the jersey number 10. The jersey number 10 comes with a lot of responsibility.
Of course.
Just like the jersey number 7 at Manchester United.
Yeah.
If you are wearing jersey number 7, it brings a lot of pressure on you. The same thing with Yamal. But with the performance he has put in so far, he has represented that jersey so well and so well and fantastically so far. So I think they should quit with the comparison. Let Lamine Yamal grow at his own pace. The unnecessary comparison will force him to want to start behaving like a Messi. And to be honest with you, there can only be one Messi. There can only be one Lamine Yamal. There can never be two Lionel Messi. There can never be two Lamine Yamal. So Lamine Yamal forging his own part. Lionel Messi already forged his own part. There's no reason for comparison. Lamine Yamal can never be compared to the greatest of all time.
Of course,
Messi.
Yeah, but I want to ask you quickly, Mayowa, this thing I've been thinking about, in modern football these days. I mean, looking at how modern football has evolved, with the technology being introduced. I don't know what the medical staff are doing, the players' physical conditions, injuries left and right. In fact, goalkeepers are now having ACLs. They're having an anterior cruciate ligament injury, a goalkeeper. What's the goalkeeper's business with the ACL? And, in modern football right now, will you look at these things and say, look, Lamine Yamal is just 18. Look at the numbers he has put up. Is he going to have that consistency till a certain 28? He still has 10 years. In fact, he has 12. He has 13. 30 years time, he will be 31. Some players are still shining at 31. So, but with the way football has evolved quickly, Mayowa, do you think Lamine Yamal and other young players, the Gullers, the Esteban Williams, the Hendricks, do you still see them? Can they get to that height of the levels of a certain Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi?
Well, the thing is, the reason why those players got into that level is because of the kind of dedication they had. The number of games they play, are slightly increased. But I mean, the number of games those players also played were also much. It's just probably maybe another 5-6 games more than what they used to play. That's what the current players play at the moment. So the thing is if they can be consistent and put in the work, there's a Ronaldo after training is always training on his own. After everybody has gone home, Ronaldo is there training on his own. The same thing too with Messi. After everybody is gone, Messi is training on his own to get much more better. If all these new guys coming up, if they can put in that same consistency, I will not be surprised if most of these players, your Hendrick and the rest of that, you saw what Hendrick did in Lyon and the rest of that, your Hendrick, Adagula and the rest of them, they can play to their early 40s if they put in that same commitment and that same dedication those guys put in. The reason why you can see the longevity of this player is because of the dedication and the time they put in. They did not just stop at training has ended, let's go and party. They decided to commit more time to improving their skill, and that is why they had that longevity.
But Maiwa, players that partied.
That's the question.
Sorry, Maiwa, players that partied, they won Ballon d'Or twice, back to back.
Where the player that party. How many years did he stay on the top? How many years did he stay on the top?
No longevity.
How many years? There's a particular Ronaldinho that was partying.
Big example.
Ronaldinho played in his 40s.
No,
he did not.
Ronaldinho was almost done at 27. 27, Ronaldinho was finished.
Yeah, there's a particular Neymar that was partying. Where is Neymar? He barely plays any football now. So I think what you put in behind what you do behind the scene really will determine how long you will last on the field of play. Ronaldo and Messi, they are a good example of what dedication can do. If those players can have that same work ethic, I will not be surprised if they play into their 40s.
Well, let's hope they do so. I mean, time is fast spent on the show. But quickly, let's take you to the UEFA Champions League. Of course, this is the week of the Champions League. No games tonight, but there will be games tomorrow because Manchester City, they are set to host Galatasaray at the Etihad Stadium tomorrow night with Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen looking to make an impact for the Turkish side. Galatasaray needs a win to boost their chances of securing a top 24 spot and qualifying for the Champions League knockout stages. All the games, I don't know how UEFA planned this one at this time around. All the games of Matchday 8 will be played in one day. That's tomorrow, Wednesday. Same time, 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Let's look at the fixtures right there. If the producers can be so kind to give me the fixtures. Of course, for all the games in the Champions League, Arsenal, the table toppers, of course, they will be at home to Kairat Almaty. And let's look at the likes of Barcelona, who will also be in action. They want to finish in the top 8 as well. Victor Osimhen, he has scored 6 goals in 5 Champions League games this season and is expected to lead the line for Galatasaray. Manchester City, who are 11th in the league phase, will be looking to bounce back from their recent defeat to Bodo Glimt. And Pep Guardiola's side, as they have several key players missing, including the likes of Rodri, John Stones, and Nico O'Reilly due to injury and suspension. And of course, yes, there we have it on your screen. Let me quickly run through this quickly. Ajax will be up against Olympiacos, the first game, or let's say it's in alphabetical order. Arsenal will be up against Kairat Almaty, Athletic Club against Sporting CP. Atletico Madrid will be at home against Bodo Glimt. Borussia Dortmund against Inter Milan. Barcelona will be up against Copenhagen, a winnable game for Barcelona. Benfica against Real Madrid. But I think with the form of Real Madrid, they should get a win. I will ask my wife about that very soon. Club Brugge against Marseille. Frankfurt against Tottenham Hotspur. Leverkusen will be playing Villarreal. Liverpool will be at home against Qarabag. Manchester City will be up against Galatasaray. Monaco will be tackling Juventus right there at the Principality. I think that's a Pogba derby because his current club Monaco up against his old club Juventus. Napoli will be up against Chelsea, a big fixture. Pafos against Slavia Prague. Paris Saint-Germain will be up against Newcastle. This is one of the big fixtures as well. PSV Eindhoven against Bayern Munchen, and lastly Union Saint-Gilloise of Belgium. Yes, they will be entertaining Ademola Lookman's Atalanta. As we go on the show, Mayowa, of all these fixtures, I mean, which one do you see to be tantalizing and is going to have the biggest effect? As also they show us the table right now. Which fixture we think will have the big effect for this club, to be on the top 8 or on the top 24?
Well, I think a Man City side, a Man City against Galatasaray, a win for them probably get them into the top 8. They are currently 11th, and a win for them might probably propel them. There's also a Galatasaray, that's also you have this bad reputation in Europe, and they've been trying to correct that. So I think this is an opportunity for a Galatasaray to be able to get one up. A Man City side, how do you lose to a Bodo Glimt? Somebody please explain to me. How does a Man City lose to a Bodo Glimt? Yes, they are suffering from injury. Then there's Anabeloa, that has not been able to get a hold of, a Madrid side. Yes, he was able to win over the weekend. Yeah. Can he be able to replicate that in the Champions League? Well, time will only tell. There is a particular, there are a lot of clubs who are trying to sneak into the 24th position to get into the first 24th position to be able to play the playoff. Would they be able to do it? Well, it's only time will tell. Barcelona also, very, very important. Yeah. Chelsea, if they mess up, they might drop down and start and need to head to playoff. Liam Rosnell, can he do it? Can Barcelona also, leapfrog Chelsea? In Chelsea features all round. Yeah. Newcastle, can they mess up again? Well, time will tell. In Chelsea features, the only teams that are guaranteed a place in the next round are the first 3 teams. Other teams, they are still struggling for position. A win, a draw might determine each of the from number 5 to number 8. We might see teams changing position after by the end of the game. So it's going to be an interesting game. Where it's going to swing? Well, 90 minutes will probably determine where the pendulum will swing. It's going to be a disaster if we see the likes of Barcelona playing, a round of 16 games to be able to get to the next round. All
right, so let's wrap up and let me quickly show us the table right now as it stands. Let's go through the table. Arsenal on top, of course. Yes, thank you, my producers right there. Arsenal, 7 games, 7 wins. Bayern Munchen are following them in second place with 18. They lost their 1 game so far to the Arsenal. Real Madrid in 3rd, Liverpool in 4th, Tottenham in 5th. Tottenham in 5th, that's kind of strange. Paris Saint-Germain in 6th position, Newcastle in 7th, and Chelsea in 8th position. And let's quickly go from 9th to 24th. Barcelona, Sporting CP, Manchester City in all unfamiliar position. Atletico Madrid, Atalanta, Inter Milan, Juventus, Inter, the last season's finalists, in 14th place, not so good for them. Juventus in 15th, Borussia Dortmund in 16th, Galatasaray in 17th, Qarabag in 18th, a good one for Qarabag, Marseille, Leverkusen, Monaco, PSV, Athletic Club Bilbao, and Olympiacos wrap up the playoff spot and as it stands. And Napoli, Copenhagen, Club Brugge, Bodo Glimt, Benfica, Pafos, Union Saint-Gilloise, Ajax Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Villarreal, and Karat Almaty will be heading home should it remain like this after match day 8. And also, the Europa League will also be going down on Thursday. But of course, we will be back here tomorrow to take you through all of that one. And with that, we'll be wrapping up on the show today. Maiwa, thank you very much for being a part of the program today.
It's always amazing to be here, and I'm hoping Jerry will come tomorrow so I can show him.
No, this week, this whole week is Manchester United showing their face on Liverpool fans' faces, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be Manchester United week. So, Jerry, I'm waiting for you. I'll be expecting you tomorrow. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. You will be here. And of course, yes, it's been a wonderful time on the show. Up next is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro. And of course, I am Afiz Ogubanjo. Stay tuned and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye for now.
Nambo ezigbo nwa afọ Nigeria ka ihe m ga-eme pụrụ iche
nwanne m nwoke
Adanne
m ga-akwụ chi n'eziokwu kwanyere ndị ọzọ ugwu ma lekọta